The House will come to order. Prayer by the chaplain.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the gifts of good government. Thank you for good order and for the freedom that we enjoy as citizens of this country and state. Thank you for the willing servants who will gather here today to work on behalf of their constituents. I pray that they will serve unselfishly for the common good. Keep them from pettiness, pride, and all manners of sin that divide us. May respectful conversations, thoughtful critiques, and bold cooperations guide all that happens within these walls. Lord, we lift up national, state, and local elected officials and civil servants. Encourage them today. Bless their families. Give them each personally, in increasing measure, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Let them be guided by humility, for it is through humble service that others can hear your truth and see your light shining through us. Father, we acknowledge that all good things come from your hand. We give you thanks for this day, and we praise you now and forevermore. All this we pray in the Savior's name, and all God's people say together, Amen.
The chaplain for today is Pastor David Christensen from Living Word Lutheran Church in Marshall, Minnesota. Pledge of Allegiance. Please remain standing and recite the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk will take the roll.
Clerk will close the roll. A quorum is present. The representative from Hennepin, Representative Freiberg, for what purpose do you rise?
Point of parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Speaker.
How come?
State your point of parliamentary inquiry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At what point does a member temporarily serving as the Speaker stop serving as Speaker, and under which House rule is that governed?
Representative Freiberg, if it were up to the ordinary speaker, that time would have been up 5 minutes ago. The clerk will read the journal of the preceding day.
Journal of the House, 90th Session, 2018, 98th day, St. Paul, Minnesota, Wednesday, May 16th, 2018.
If there's no objection, further reading of the journal will be dispensed with, and the journal will be approved as corrected by the chief clerk. Hearing no objection, the journal is approved as corrected by the chief clerk, the greatest chief clerk we've ever seen. Thank you very much.
Introduction of bills. The following House files have been offered for introduction today. The Chief Clerk will report the House files and give them their first reading.
Introduction of first reading of House Files 4519 through 4527.
First reading, House files 4519 through 4527. Recognize the member from Itasca, Representative Lehman. For what purpose do you rise?
Point of personal privilege, Mr. Speaker.
State your point of personal privilege.
Mr. Speaker, I would just like to make note to the members today that it's kind of an interesting little story, and you have a picture on your desk, and you have a House resolution on your desk. But about 100 years ago, in fact, it was 100 years ago in 2018, a little-known Swedish-American photographer who was in business in the western Mesaba range town of Bovie was visited by a traveling salesman, and he was really impressed as what he saw as kindness in the man's face. And Eric Enstrom asked the man, whose last name was Wilden, to pose for a picture. And he had Wilden clasp his hands as in prayer while seated at a table with an arrangement of household objects, including a book, a loaf of bread, and a bowl of soup. He called the photograph Grace. Enstrom composed Grace to represent survival in the face of hardship. Well, what is the significance to us here? In 2002, Senator Bob Lassard of International Falls and Representative Lauren Solberg of Bovie sponsored a bill in the state legislature that designated Grace the official state photograph. Governor at that time was Jesse Ventura. He signed that into law later that year, and part of that law was that the Secretary of State would hang a print of the photograph on her, at that time her, was Mary Kiffmeyer wall, as specified in the bill. So today, Mr. Speaker and members, I have a resolution that I would just quickly like to read here. Whereas the photograph Grace is Minnesota's state photograph since March 22nd, 2002. Whereas this photograph is known worldwide and represents some of the best talent from Minnesota. And whereas the photograph was taken by Minnesota photographer Eric Enstrom in Bovie, Minnesota. The man depicted in this photograph is Charles Wilden of Grand Rapids, who made a living in the early 1900s selling shoe scrapers house to house in towns where muddy streets were prevalent. And whereas the photograph was taken in 1918, making 2018 the 100th anniversary of this well-known image, now therefore be it resolved by the Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration of the House of Representatives of the State of Minnesota that Labor Day, September 3rd, 2018, be declared Picture Grace Day in the state of Minnesota. And why September 3rd? Well, the Labor Day is well known as Farmers' Day in Bovey, Minnesota, and it's widely celebrated, so this is very fitting. And I'm not sure that these folks are in the House chamber right now because the same resolution is being read in the Senate, but I would just like to acknowledge that at the Capitol today is Kim Nyberg, the grandson of Eric Enstrom, Kara Nyberg, a great-granddaughter of Eric Enstrom, Bruce Berentz, the grandson of Eric Enstrom, Brian Carlson, who wrote the first proposal, the Picture Grace, to become the state photo, and Lauren Solberg, who brought forth the legislation together with Senator Bob Lassard for the Picture Grace to become the state photo. So there's some place in the Capitol today, and so I'd just like to have us recognize them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Pepin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I move a recess to the call of the chair until approximately 12 noon. The Committee on Rules and Legislative Administration will meet immediately after recess in room 120, and then Republican members, we will caucus in our caucus room right after rules.
Representative Hortman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative Pepin. The DFL members will also caucus immediately following rules.
Representative Pepin moves a recess to the call of the chair until approximately 12 o'clock noon. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, no. The motion prevails, and the House stands in recess to the call of the chair until approximately 12 o'clock noon.